Listen, one might say that the Wildcats fleed from a robbery. Possibly they spotted me. I don't know. We'll see. Sweet 16, here we come. Welcome in to another episode of Mikhail Madness on a beautiful Tuesday evening in Arizona. It's made even more beautiful because the Wildcats are in the Sweet 16. I'm Saul Bookman. That is my guy, Corey Williams. And Corey, shades of the past are about to hit San Jose. We go from 1994 all the way to today. Let's go, baby. Listen, Arkansas got the best of you in the 94 squad, but it was in the Final Four in the Queen City of Charlotte. And now these Wildcats have an opportunity to beat the Arkansas Razorbacks and go to the Elite Eight for the first time. It would be the first time in the Tommy Lloyd era. And who knows who they might play, and we'll talk about that later. But this team has done what they needed to do to move on to the next round. But before we get to all that, how are you doing, good sir?
Man, I'm doing good. Went to church on Sunday. Never left my couch, but I had a spiritual experience I was praying. Prayers was answered. I was delivered. I don't know about you, but I felt like I should have left something in the collection plate when I got off my couch Sunday because it was a very spiritual experience. All praises due to Jaden Bradley.
Listen,
praise him.
Did it get a little tight in the second half? Yeah, it did. Did I see some uncharacteristic things from some freshmen during this little run? Yeah, I did. Was I worried? Nah, I was concerned.
I was worried.
I was concerned, but I
wouldn't. When that 3 dropped to cut it to 4. I've been on the court. I heard you could hear the energy from the crowd through the TV. Our guys were struggling to bring the rock up against that raggedy press. Utah State don't even press. That's not even something they do. They were shook until Jaden Bradley said, "You know what? I'm going to take the next 3 possessions and go get us these buckets. And I'm going to quiet the crowd. I'm going to restore calm. I'm going to restore confidence." And then Burries dug deep and hit a dagger. But he don't hit that dagger unless the senior provides the calm and the confidence, because I was feeling it. So I was like, this can't be happening. This is not how it's going to end. And then, like I said, it was a team game. They got some good games from a lot of people. But in the crucial moment when it was bend but don't fold, JB did what JB does.
This is true. This is absolutely true. I said that in the post game. Kevin and Damon were, they were singing the praises of Krivas, which deservedly so. He played a fantastic game. He actually had a tip in that I thought was vital during that stretch as well, because JB had scored, but then they came back and they scored again, and then I think it was Ivan or Karchenkov missed a layup, but Krivas cleaned up the mess, and then JB came back down the next time, got that and one. And I thought that little sequence right there, because that still was a 4-point game, even with JB getting buckets, still a 4-point game. You don't get that tip in, they come down, score, all of a sudden it's 2 or 1, and everybody in the arena is tight. The whole state of Arizona is tight for Wildcats fans. So, but they live. Who's saying you've got to live and learn? You know what I mean? Like before the bridges burn. And the bridges almost did burn on Sunday, but they didn't. So
no, they came through. I felt like, you got them down 18. You got to go ahead and slit their throat and get it to 20 something and just put this game out the mix. Very, very sloppy game. A lot of missed free throws, a lot of missed layups. And like I said, I don't think the LIU game was a good precursor for that game. The LIU game was like a non-conference game against, North Dakota State or Bethune-Cookman or somebody like that. It was just a walkthrough, and it was good to get some shots up and see the ball go in on that neutral site and get comfortable there, but you never got pushed. I don't know that there was the same urgency. And when they cut it to 4, you're like, damn, our whole season is this next 3.5, 4 minutes. Yeah, that's the tournament, bro. If it's a one possession game inside of 4 minutes, we've seen it. Anything can happen. And the luxury, when the freshmen started having freshman moments, we had a senior out there. And where a lot of teams, and we'll talk about this later, that are freshman heavy, when you need leadership moments, the freshmen are like, this is the first time I ever been here. I ain't never did nothing like this before. This is crazy. Yeah, it's the tournament, and you're a freshman. This is the most intense game you've ever played in your career. I don't care what you did in AAU. I don't care what you did in club or Team USA. The NCAA tournament is probably the most pressure-packed environment you've ever been in, and it takes a little bit of experience and maturity. Calm it down, get an and one, get to the free throw line, make a couple plays, get things back in order. And I think that's what makes this Arizona team so great, is that balance of youth and wisdom. Krivas isn't shook. Tobe isn't shook. Deli's not shook. Jaden's not shook. I don't think the freshmen are shook, but I think when they struggle, the other half of the team has experience. So somebody somewhere going to straighten it out. So we love the young legs. We love the young energy. I think Burries and Koa, they score a ton of points, but there are certain points in the game that have nothing to do with offense and more to do with leadership.
So there was a kind of a, I always like, and this is the thing about the attention to detail portion that Arizona has been pretty good at all season long. However, in the tournament, this more than anybody, Corey, it's that one small little thing, that one small little lapse that all of a sudden is like a thread pulled from a sweater, and everything starts to unravel. And I thought it was Arizona was up 18. I think maybe Utah State had just scored, or maybe they missed. I forgot what it was, but it was a throw up to Koa, and Koa had it wide open layup, misses it. They come back down. They cut it down to 14, and I thought, that could have pushed it back up to 18, and who knows what would have happened. But like that small little 4-point swing, I felt like really gave Utah State a little bit of hope. And then that little bit of hope just grew and grew and grew. And then, before you know it, you're in a fight. And that's what Arizona was in. But I was talking to, I was on the radio earlier today, and I'm concerned because, they've blown some of these leads, but how am I supposed to be concerned when every single time they've blown these leads, they've always found a way? They've always found a way to win these games until they don't. And right now you're in that mode where if they don't, they go home. And so that's the concern to a certain degree. But I mean, this is who they've been all season long, going all the way back to like Florida, and they're down by 12. They go up by 12. They blow the lead down the stretch, can't beat the press. Somehow they find a way. If you go to BYU on the road at BYU, they blow a huge lead in this. They were killing BYU at BYU. Next thing you know, it's a one possession game. Robert Wright has a chance to win the game, and Braden Burries comes out of nowhere to block the shot. Big 12 championship game. They're playing against Houston. They're up 15. They're dog walking one of the best teams in the country. Houston goes on a 14-0 run. Guess what? They answered the call, build it back up to 9. Like at every single turn, every single time they seem to melt down, they put themselves back together and they get back on the wall again like Humpty Dumpty. It's crazy to see how they do this, and they continue to do it time after time again. So it's hard for me to doubt that they can show the way. And the one difference between this and all those other scenarios and examples I just proved, or I just talked about, was there was a moment where they got that 10-second call. And I saw Braden Burry's face concern. Like, what the hell are we doing out here? Like, what is going on? Jaden in that moment, and I don't know if they showed this on TV or not, Jaden came over to Braden and patted him on the chest and basically said, we good, we're fine. And then they come back out and everything was fine after that. That's the senior leadership you're talking about.
Yeah, and it's the leadership of, okay, and this is where, a senior kind of has a different mindset. It's like a ping pong match. Basketball is great because you get to play offense and you get to play defense in the same breath. Like, it's not football. So, hey, man, we had a 10-second call, or you threw the ball out of bounds, or you missed a layup. That don't mean we have to let them score. Bro, we're good because we can make up for it over here. We missed an opportunity, but we can get the ball back from them without them scoring. I have full confidence we can lock them up. Where a freshman is sitting there going through turmoil about the most recent turnover or mishap, the senior's like, bro, it doesn't matter if we D up. That's the mentality of a mature player. Like, I don't care about that. We're good. And so you let the guys know we have a chance to get steals and blocks that lead to layups. We have a chance to score buckets and then connect it with stops on the other end. Like, we are in control of all of this, not just one side of the court. So when the guys are fixated on one side of the court, the leaders say, hey, man, we're good. We're still allowed to play defense. We don't have to let them score. We can lock things up. We can make up for that. But, it's funny because the tournament, I liken it to this. It's like at no other point in the season is the finality at stake. Death. Your season is dead. You're over. You're done. But in the tournament, death is right there from the time you tip up. One of y'all's done. As soon as we jump ball, one of y'all season is dead. And it is your job to push that pressure of death and panic and fear, push that on to the other team. Let them be down 11 with 4 minutes to go. Let them call a timeout because you went on a 12-0 run. Let them fall apart and panic because it happens. We see it happen every year in the tournament. Teams get down and they start realizing there's 9 minutes left in our season and everybody goes for self and starts jacking and they start arguing and the coach is burning timeouts because they can all feel it slipping away. And that weight just gets heavier and heavier and heavier. And our guys do a good job of not even feeling that pressure. You just indicated 6 or 7 instances throughout the season where they bound together and found a way to not allow that pressure to get inside and break them. They all stay calm. They all stay together. I am confident like you. Arizona can take a run. Arizona can find a way. But like most fans, I want them to just make it easy on yourselves, guys. Get up 12, push the lead, keep playing, and just keep pushing the lead. Now, nobody's ever going to play perfect ball. Teams are going to make runs. But I agree with you. I think this team is definitely resilient and they stick together.
Yeah, no, I mean they're good at that. They're good at that, and hopefully that'll shine this weekend because it's not going to be exactly the same, obviously, because they got some tougher competition, which is obvious to say. But I want to go around the table a little bit. I thought Koa's impact on the game was huge. I thought this was one of his best. All-around efforts of the season. It's not going to show in every single metric or every single way, but the things that he does on that court to really impact the game, intangible-wise, were on display in that game specifically. Even small things like tip-outs for rebounds to give his other teammates an opportunity to get a rebound. Like the small things, and that's why he had the biggest plus-minus of anybody on the court at plus 25. And when he came out of the game, that's when Utah State made a run. When he picked up his 4th foul, like Utah State put the foot on the gas and they went. Also, big love to Mo Krivas because his defensive impact continues to just shine even more. It feels like more and more every single game. And so as we move forward, that is going to be huge, especially when you're talking about a team like Arkansas, who loves to get out and run. And they have one of the best facilitators / scorers in the country in Darius Acuff. And it's going to be a battle. But this team isn't world beaters. They're not the second coming of, the running Rebels or anything like that. So we won't make them out to be. They're going to be a legitimate opponent, but one that Arizona should beat. Like flat out, they should beat Arkansas. but we all know that there's particular styles that can rise up and overcome. And we saw a little glimpse of that against Utah State. Though not a heavy three-point shooting team, all of a sudden they start dropping threes like it's nobody's business, and they're right back in the game. Arkansas can shoot the three. And so this is something to where if Arkansas is shooting at a high clip, it's going to be problematic, obviously.
Yeah. Shout out to Utah State, because if you go back and watch that game, they got every three that they wanted. And I mean, there was nobody around when they were shooting those threes in the first half, and they couldn't buy a bucket. And I'm sitting there on the couch thinking, my God, if these guys could shoot, we would be in trouble right now. Like, they were missing everything. And we were just getting the rebound, going down and scoring, getting the rebound, going down and scoring. It wasn't like these were contested threes. They were running their sets. They were kicking it. And maybe you got to give Tommy Lloyd some credit, because I think behind the scenes, he knew who they could force the ball to and wasn't afraid. And he made the game really fixate on whether those guys could knock down shots. And obviously his scouting report held firm, because those guys couldn't knock down shots. So maybe it was a little bit of strategy, but I was blown away by how open they were on these shots. And you're right. When they did start to connect, that game got tight right away. So, this Arizona game against Arkansas, for the fans out there, it's going to be Alabama. It's going to be San Diego State. If you remember those games, heavy guard dominated games. We shut off the lane. We contested the shots. We dominated the paint. And even though both those teams had guards that could really get off, if you have zero inside game, you're just not going to win. Mathematically, it's not possible. You got to shoot the three at like 50% to make up for the fact that you don't have bigs. Now, Arkansas has bigs, but they're not going to be backing Tobe and Krivas down and dropping jump hooks like JT Toppin or any of the, some of the people we've seen in the Big 12. I think it's going to come down to Arizona's ability to control the paint and limit them to one shot. Arizona hasn't had turnover problems all year because we got a solid point guard. So that pick six, transition, open court layup stuff that Arkansas likes to get, they're not going to get that. Those are the types of things that go away the deeper you get into the tournament, because you start playing better teams. Now we're into heavyweight, knockdown, drag out brawls, games that are probably going to be in the 70s and 80s instead of the 90s and the 100s, because everybody's got guards that can take care of the rock. But even in a half court game, I give the advantage to Arizona.
Yeah, it's Arkansas likes to play a kind of a fun, loose style as much as possible. But if you go to Haslametrics, like they have a predictor, so to speak, and their predictor is based off of a whole bunch of metrics or whatever. And they've predicted Arkansas to lose 5 games this year. In all 5 games, they have lost. Those 5 games were against Michigan State, Duke, Houston, Alabama, Florida. Like, for those 5, there's a distinct reason why. They're some of the elite defensive teams in the country. Alabama is okay, but those 5 teams, every single time they got predicted, they lost. They are predicting Arizona to win by 9 points. So maybe that's a good indicator. Maybe it's not. Who knows? But the numbers haven't lied so far for that particular website. And there's a variety of other things that we can dive into. But I thought, for fans out there that want something to look at, look for the key indicators of, like, is this going our way or not? There's 3 particular metrics that I want to throw out there for everybody to kind of absorb and look at and see if it's legit. I went to evanmia.com today, took a look. 3-point percentage, opponent's turnovers, and opponent free throw attempts. Okay. If the target line is 35% roughly. Okay. So if Alabama could shoot above 35%, that's a good indicator for them. If they can create at least 11 plus turnovers, another great indicator for them. And if they can limit the amount of free throws another team shoots, that's a great indicator for them. And on the right side of this graphic, as you can see, if they hit 0 targets, they are 1-6. So there has been 7 games this year where they have not met any one of those 3 metrics, and they have only won 1. When they hit at least 1, They are 20-9 in the season. When they hit at least 2 of those metrics, they're 18-7. And here's the key thing: it's feast or famine to me in this regard. If they hit all 3, they haven't lost, and their win margin is quite high. So that would mean obviously they're shooting at a high clip from the perimeter. They're forcing a lot of turnovers to get out and open and run. And when you see Acuff hitting threes and throwing lobs, you know you're going to be in trouble. However, when you're talking about Arizona, one of the things that they love to do and league basically the league in is free throws per game. They make more free throws than most teams get attempts in a game. Like, that's what they do. They have been pretty good at taking care of the ball. And they're one of the best teams at limiting 3-point percentage in the country. So from those metrics, you like Arizona's chances.
Yeah, I like Arizona's chances, and I see a lot of the discussion online, which I normally don't pay attention to, but, as a fan, I'm listening to what people are talking about. Everybody's like, oh, Arizona gets the whistle, they get to the free throw line so many times, and they're starting to try to create this narrative that there's some type of favoritism or bias with the officiating. And I say so many things that are arrogant and may sound funny, but I'm going to say this. It's non-ass players who talk like that. People who ain't never played ball for real are the ones that are trying to pitch this referee narrative. Bro, if I'm 6'7" and I get stuck on Krivas, I have to foul him. And I played professionally. There is something to be said for guys being bigger and stronger and smaller guys having no recourse but to foul. It is not the officials cheating. One team has bigger guys. And believe me, if your coach could solve it without hacking, he would. So when you see Arizona shoot 50 free throws or 45 free throws, go back and watch and tell me, are those not fouls? Did that guy not get pinned behind Tobe? Did Tobe not get a rebound and go up in traffic and get hit on the arm? Like, tell me where there aren't the fouls. Don't just pull the stats out at the end of the game and say, oh, the refs are calling everything for Arizona. You've never been in the trenches. You've never had to box out a man-child like Tobe Awaka. You've never had to guard a 7-footer. And most of the bigs in college basketball don't want no parts of banging in the paint. Most of them. And the coaches will tell you that. My guys aren't physical. So how many press conferences have you seen this year where the coaches be like, my guys aren't physical?
Yeah.
They all say it because everybody wants to be an Anthony Davis stretch 4. And so for everybody that we play and everybody that's watching from the sidelines that's got an opinion about the officiating, ask yourself, how hard are your boys? I think Michigan can stand on something. I think Florida's got good, solid bigs that play physical. I think there's a handful of teams that got bigs that would love nothing more than to go toe-to-toe with Arizona. But the other 90% of college basketball, you don't have those guys, and you know it.
Did you say Florida?
Stop. Huh? Oh, Florida.
Florida?
Yeah. Chinelu, he don't care. He'll mix it up.
But he's at home now.
Right. That's a different. That's a different. What I'm saying is they're not backing down. They're not, you know what I'm saying? They got some strength to them. They're not gonna let you just dunk everything and they get offensive rebounds and putbacks, despite their overall troubles as a club. I'm just saying, if we were in the gym and we had everybody in college basketball to pick, and we were picking our 5, guys like Tobe and Krivas would be some of the first names you called out.
Yeah.
I mean, it just is what it is. So credit Tommy Lloyd for sticking to the script, keeping the main thing. We're going to go inside. We're going to see what y'all do. Well, most everybody doubles and makes us try to shoot threes. Okay, great. Because you have to do that to protect your bigs. It's been the story all year. How do you get your big man through 40 minutes of Arizona basketball? Double team. Make sure he doesn't have to defend one-on-ones. When the shot does go up, you got to try to keep him off the glass. Like, our guys really don't go over the back because when the ball's in the air, everybody else is bird watching, and our guys just step in front, grab it, lay it back up. That's it. I mean, so I see the foul disparity, but it's a real disparity that we create. It's not referees cheating. It's us keeping it simple, doing the thing that's easiest for us to do. If we're bigger than you, then we might as well be bigger than you all game.
Yeah. Hey, I totally agree. Okay, so let's go here. Darius Acuff. All right, You watch him play. He's a really good player. I was asked today about like whether or not, who would match up on him. Would it be Jaden? Would it be Yvonne? Who, whatever. I think it's kind of largely the same as it has been all season, where it's kind of a little bit by committee. It'll be a little Yvonne, a little Jaden. But I think primarily it'll be those two. But the thing with Darius is it's not just about his shooting. He can pass too. He can facilitate. So you have to play a smart game and make sure that you crowd him as much as possible. Otherwise, he's going to cook you. He will cook you. And I think the teams that have struggled the most against Darius Acuff is because they just don't have the personnel to be able to make it uncomfortable for him enough to be the least effective person that he can be. He's a good player, obviously. I'm not saying anything crazy, but that's kind of what I see from Darius Acuff is his shot making ability. That's the other part. They are really good, especially him and Malik Thomas. Those two are difficult shot makers. They can hit tough shots. Another concern to a degree, obviously, for Arizona. But how would you limit Darius's effectiveness?
Okay, so you pull out the Houston playbook. Basically, it's Fleming. You pull that out because that's what you're dealing with on a slightly better offensive level. But you've already seen this. It's not like it's new. You've seen it twice already. So a ball dominant guard that has a step back jumper that can turn the corner, get to the rim. You've already seen this. So you do the same thing. You hedge hard and make him give it up. Now that's where the fun begins because who he gives it up to and what they do, that's going to determine their entire offense. Does he give it up to somebody who hesitates and then passes and lets everybody recover? Or does he give it up to somebody who can knock down a shot or slice to the hole and try to score? I think ball screens, when it comes to somebody like Acuff, you don't beat him with a person because everybody in college plays dribble handoff and Arizona switches everything out front. So you can't really focus on a matchup. You beat him with a principle. Ball screens on the side, guys, what are we doing? Ball screens on the top, what are we doing? Ball screens on the right side, what are we doing? If all four perimeter players are locked in on the principle, he's going to see the same thing all game long. Doesn't matter who's in front of him. If it's Deli, if it's Karchenkov, if it's JB, if it's Braden, it doesn't matter who's on him. The principle is what you guard him with. Make him give it up, and then we'll see if somebody else can beat us. What you don't want, and I see this all the time with lesser teams, and this is not a knock on him because he is fantastic. You back off him, 3 right in your face. You go under the screen, 3 right in your face. You show and try to stay with the big, he turns the corner and he's finishing at the rim or he's kicking and dropping it off, and you got all kinds of problems. So the principle and how you guard him, the rules that you implement are how you defend him. We definitely don't want to see him in the lane because your problem is this. He's in the lane. Krivas comes over and makes him miss. They've got the same kind of athletes we do that are going to get tip dunks and put backs, and now our guards are picking up fouls because our big had to rotate over. The same thing we do to other people. Get the ball on the rim and let Tobe go get it. Acuff down the lane is causing the same type of problems. So what I would love for Arizona to do, make him give it up. I don't care if that man hits 4 jumpers in a row with a hand in his face. As long as they're from the elbow or from outside, that's fine. Because over a 40-minute game, I don't think his 18-footer is going to beat us. But I think you would agree, him in the lane, going under screens and him on a step back, that could hurt you. That could hurt you a lot. So I would just dust off the Houston playbook, go over a lot of that stuff. The names change, but the game stays the same.
I wholeheartedly agree. And I do want to give a shout out to everybody in the chat. I see Deborah, Sean, White Burrito, some of the usuals, Owen Leonard, Wesley. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I think, if you can't give Acuff a steady diet of paint touches and 3-point shots, absolutely not. That's a recipe for disaster for sure. But the other personnel that they have on this team, that are Malik Thomas is no
they
slouch.
got some hoopers.
That's a freshman tandem backcourt that is as good as anybody else in the country from a scoring perspective for sure.
Right.
But they also got Brazil, who I think is a very versatile big who can shoot on the perimeter, who can play at the rim, long, lengthy guys. They got a lot of guys that So one of the things that frustrates me from time to time with Arizona, and especially on the fast break, is, and you know this, Corey, there's a difference between being athletic and having that get up. And when you're on the fast break and you're trying to throw lobs, you need guys that can got that quick bounce and can get up and dunk it. Koa Peat has to load up a little bit more than usual. And so when you see like the fast, quick twitch kind of throws, sometimes he's not able to just anticipate that enough and get there and dunk. So he'll catch, come back down, and go back up. Whereas Arkansas, whether you want to call it training or not, them dudes, they're at the rim every time. Like Acuff, if he sees a glimmer of a window, it's up. Dunk.
Right.
Dunk City. That's what they're doing. Like it's feast or famine at the rim, 3-point line, and there's really nothing else in between. That's what they do. That's their style of basketball. If you look at their shot charts, it's all perimeter and all paint. Like, and it's not middies either. It's all of that. So Arizona's got to come with it.
No, and you make a great point. And we can just go back to the 2 losses that Arizona has. Kansas was hanging all over the rim at Fog Allen. They was getting lobs. They was getting dunks. We did not control the paint against Kansas. And JT Toppin put in hella work in the paint against Arizona. And that's the only 2 times Arizona lost. So you're right. If they're doing chin-ups on the rim and he's out there throwing lobs and we don't have a presence in the paint, then, yeah, it's going to be a long night. They're a very streaky, emotional ball club. They make a lot of great plays in the open court. And all players are exactly the same when it comes to this. When you talk about rhythm, what throws a player out of rhythm is when he's not getting what he's usually used to getting. I'm used to getting some slashes to the bucket, but I can't get those. I'm used to getting wide open threes, but I can't get those. I'm used to getting post up and jump hooks. When you take away something that a player is used to getting, it affects his confidence. It affects his rhythm. Now, how many players can you do that to? A good coach can find a way to do that to 2 or 3 guys. You can't do it to all 5. Acuff, you want to try to throw him off his game, and a couple of those you want to try to limit the way that they score. At this point, you've got so much tape on everybody. Nobody's a secret. What they can do, what they can't do, what they like, what they don't like. This is where coaching and this is where coaches really earn their paychecks. You know, I remember one time, and I'm not trying to make this about me, but I had to guard Ed O'Bannon, and he was a lefty, and coach was like, do this, sit on his left hand, make him go right, be there when he shoots. And it worked. It wasn't like I was a superior athlete. I damn sure wasn't a better player, but I had a coach giving me the blueprint on how to try to take away some of the things he liked. I think Arizona has to try to find a way to do that. I like Arizona in a half-court game against these guys. I know if we're up 10 and the opportunity comes to run and get a quick one, give it a shot, but don't get sucked into a track meet because these guys, like you said, are exceptional athletes.
Yeah. The other thing the other point I was going to make was Darius Acuff. I watched, maybe about an hour and a half worth of footage of him today. And one of the things that did stand out to me was it did appear to me that his tendency is to go right. He likes to pull up going right. He likes to drive an attack going right. He will go left. It's not that he can't, but he prefers to go right. So if I'm Arizona, obviously that's a tendency that I'm going to pick up on, and I'm going to force him to go left. I'm going to force him to go to the side that he doesn't naturally want to go to try and make shots and make a play. And that's one tendency that you can look for when it comes to Arkansas. The other thing is your point about Houston. You do have to switch up coverages from time to time in terms of the random things that you might throw at him just to shake him up a little bit, give him something to kind of give him pause. It's not something that, you need to shut him down because you can't do that against the elite players. But you could throw something at them so that way when they come across the court the next time, they pause before they go left into this direction because they saw something before that caused a trap or something like that. Houston did some funky things against Arkansas the first time, which was very un-Houston-like to me. At least not when I've seen Houston play. They ran 2-3 zone a couple times against Arkansas.
You see?
And I thought, that's interesting. And when they did that, they extended their lead by like damn near 20 points at one point, and then Arkansas came roaring back. But I was really kind of shocked because I don't know about you, see, but I know when I saw a zone, I was licking my lips, man, because I was like, oh, I'm going to get me some shots because I
Right.
love playing against the zone from the perimeter.
But it's great coaching because what does the zone do? It negates your first step because it doesn't matter how good your first step is. We're in a zone, bro. There's 4 people watching you and 1 person guarding you. So go ahead and put your head down and do something stupid. It negates your athleticism. There's no lanes to the basket. Your offense instantly becomes a passing offense. It's not based on athleticism no more. So when you see coaches go zone, they're trying to do something. And then lastly, to your point, which I thought was a great point, how you defend has everything to do with the scoreboard. We're tied up. We're hedging you hard, we're trapping, and we're making you give it up. We're up 12. Maybe we go under the screen up 12 and see if you hit the 3 because you're shooting 22% right now. You're willing to defend differently based on the score. When the game is tight, you respect it all. When you get a lead, then you're maybe willing to say, let's play the percentages now. Stop playing the person and play the percentages. Because if you guys want to start jacking up threes down 15, have at it. We've got 6 or 7 possessions of difference between us right now. And we're willing to gamble and see if we can build on our lead. If it doesn't work out, oh, well, we knock it off and we go back to what we were doing. But I think you're right. Switching up the defensive strategies, how they play when they're down, how they play against zone, how they play when it's a slowed down half-court game. These are all big things because what ends up happening is a guy who, like Acuff, who knows if he comes off the court with less than 30 points, they probably don't win this game. I don't see a way they win this game without him getting 30. So if he can't get to his good shots and he's like, damn, I got to start taking these 5 seconds to go on the shot clock buzzer beaters every possession because they're taking away all my primary looks. If I can't get to my good shots and all Arizona is leaving me is my bad shots, well, then it becomes infinitely harder to be effective. That's the way Arizona needs to defend. If he's going to have the ball in his hands the last 6 seconds of almost every possession. But what you do in those moments, that's going to determine the game.
Well said. Well said. We could go on and on about like what Arizona needs to do against Arkansas, but I think that's pretty good. That's a pretty good scouting report on what to expect. Those 3 key metrics, I think, are going to be something I certainly am going to keep an eye on and see how it goes. But I did just get back from San Diego yesterday, and I wanted to, listen. I did this against BYU, and when I go on the road, I try to do something that you guys might enjoy. So here's a little behind the scenes escapades on what happened this last weekend in San Diego, and I hope you like it.
I'm excited for it. That's what March is all about. You know what I mean? You don't want to play in front of a dead crowd. You kind of like the vibe of like, they score, their crowd is going crazy. We score, our crowd is going crazy. But I have full belief in our fans, and they travel so well. So I'm sure it's going to be an amazing environment.
I got out here early for the tournament and figured I'd get on the wait list of Torrey. And did I get on? Yeah, I got on. This is a bad matchup for LIU. They are not a high-volume three-point shooting team. They rely a lot on the two-point shot, and their pace of play is not very great either. So it's going to be an uphill battle. They would have to play the best game of their lives, and Arizona would have to play the worst game of their lives in order for anything to happen. But it is March, and you never know. But I can confidently say that Arizona should win this game handily. So let's get to it.
But everybody knows, so it's my first time, so I'm so happy to participate in this tournament. First round, and let's keep going.
But something happened during this game that I thought was outstanding. They made CBS go to the junk bin in B-roll and talk about the 1951 LIU matchup. When you whooping somebody ass so bad that the director has time to pull up, because when we do have this stuff in the trunk, we just hope we never have to go to it. But when you whooping somebody ass by 30 and they start showing black and white pictures of the game from 1951, I said, that's my boys. That's how y'all supposed to handle business. Make them go to the B-roll, Saul. I loved it.
Walking around campus, gonna go grab something to eat, and we randomly walk into. Oh, ULA rugby game. That's pretty cool. Here's Chris. And as soon as we show up, they score. How awesome is that? It's gorgeous out here today. Tonight, the night before Arizona plays Utah State. So it should be interesting and it should be fun. But before we get to that point, I'm just gonna relax, enjoy the beautiful, beautiful sunset, and hope for an Arizona win. Let's go. How you feeling about today's game?
Nervous because I'm an Arizona fan, but excited because this team. See, it's unnecessary.
Totally unnecessary.
This team seems special, so I'm excited.
Yeah, we're so balanced and everything. I just think they just play really well.
I think we'll feel good after the first 5 minutes. I think Utah State's going to come out firing, and then we'll take over from there.
Okay. All right. You feel the same way? Sweet.
All right, what we got?
Look who I ran into. We got RJ.
On the mic.
The mic's not connected to my phone.
Not. I just told it's a prop at this point in time.
How you feeling about our run?
I'm feeling great. You know what? Again, a lot of people have been favoring us. I think our mentality should be more of a revenge, more of a prove it tour, not a like, hey, we're the best team. There's a confidence that comes from doing it. Yeah. And I don't think Arizona has walked through with the same confidence as they should. So I think this team has an opportunity to put us back in that space of like, hey, everyone knows the legacy, everyone knows how great we are, but we also need to prove that we're great because we do it. That's what Arizona used to be.
I mean, that's a breakdown right there, unlike any other. There you go. RJ, appreciate you, man.
Always.
Cool. Appreciate it, man.
Appreciate
Thanks,
you, man.
man.
100%.
Figured I'd give everybody a little behind-the-scenes tour of like what the media entrance and all that stuff is like. I don't know if it's really worth it to you guys, but hey, let's go check it out.
I think we had really good huddles today, honestly. You know, we all came together and just said, you know, we got to stay together. Like I said, you know, just stay even keel, not let the moment get too big. You know, we've been in situations like that during this season. So, I mean, I thought we stayed together well and, you know, we came out victorious.
How far can this team go? Are they going to Indianapolis?
Give it to us. What is this team going to do?
I mean, listen, they are the favorites to go to the Final Four, without a doubt. All three of them contributed in some way, shape, or form. However, it was Jaden Bradley, the instigator, the one that initially went and popped the trunk, and then he got the other pieces to give to everybody else to help him out. That's it.
I was chewing my gum like a nervous wreck, but very happy, right? You know, you never take any of these games for granted. Mo was huge down the stretch. That Burries 3 was absolutely massive. And Jaden Bradley just has that clutch screen, that hit factor. So, you know, appreciative of what we just saw out there. Gritty win, and looking forward to San Jose.
So we're all done here. It's now about 10 o'clock at night. It's time to go home. And as you can see, everything's all put away. So it's with that, I think I got 2 days. I think I have to turn around and do it all over again. But I mean, how cool is that? Off to San Jose. Let's get it.
A few moments later.
Oh, that was the trip. I'm glad it's over. Because coming back at 4 o'clock in the morning, it sucks. But I get to do it all over again tomorrow morning at 4 o'clock in the morning, all over again. So that's gonna be fun. I'm excited.
You're driving to the Bay?
No, hell no. No, my flight leaves hella early.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. And because TSA apparently is just an absolute shit show. So
I heard, I checked today, they said it was 20, 30 minutes. It wasn't that bad. So
in Tucson, maybe it wasn't, but in
I'm
Phoenix,
talking about Sky Harbor. I checked Sky Harbor. So
I
you
hope
need to be the guinea pig because I got a vacation in about a month. I'm going out of Sky Harbor, so hopefully they'll have it cleared up by then. Let me know.
I did want to get to a couple other little nuggets that dropped today. KJ Lewis entered the transfer portal, and there was a couple people asking whether or not him coming back to Arizona could be a possibility. What would you say if KJ Lewis was to put on and don an Arizona uniform all over again?
I love KJ Lewis. I thought he was the dog on that team his last year at Arizona. I thought he really gave us some toughness on the perimeter. The portal and NIL, I mean, like the Godfather, they made him an offer he couldn't refuse. It was the kind of money that we just couldn't put into one player without, busting up what we were able to put together. And you see the team that was put together with the budget we had. So there's no regrets on either side. I think Tommy and KJ got a lot of love for each other.
Yeah.
You know what you're getting. It's a proven product. But here's the problem. He's going to garner more money than he's playing for now. So the deal is even more expensive than it was than the offer for him to come back. So unless Arizona has some type of budget increase or more money gets moved around, now we are losing a lot of talent. But is he a Braden Burries? No. Is he a Koa Peat? No. Is he a Krishenko? No. So it's like, who's coming back? Who's staying? How much is it going to cost? Me personally, bygones can be bygones. I'm not one of them dudes that keeps track of my exes. So, And I love the kid. He was a dog. But I think, he's going to go to greener pastures, literally greener pastures, and it probably won't be Arizona. So
yeah.
I'm glad that he got a chance to showcase a lot of his game. I saw some clips and some highlights. He was just dominating, like hitting threes. And the offense that he wasn't really putting on display here in Arizona, he's finally got to show. So it's great for him to cash in on that.
Yeah, absolutely. He got injured down the stretch of the season. Unfortunately, he couldn't wrap it up for the Georgetown. But listen, if he came back to Arizona, cool. If he doesn't, then it's all good. And that's based off of nothing I've heard. I haven't heard anything. I haven't looked into it or anything like that. And but I've always been a KJ Lewis fan, and I always will be. I think. And listen, defensively, he definitely fits the identity of this team. He did last year when he played for Arizona, but. I'm sure somebody else is going to pony up some ducats to get him in the fold because they feel like, he's that one other piece that could help them get to where, hopefully all these teams want to go. So no hard feelings there. But ASU made a call today, and they hired Randy Bennett from St. Mary's. And this is very interesting because, he says it was going to take a special situation for him to leave St. Mary's. And he was excited about coming back. He is from Mesa. He grew up in Arizona, and so he's going to try and resurrect that program. Now, they've had coaches of the years before. They've had, SEC coach of the year. They've had, Bobby used to dominate with Buffalo out there. They've had some good coaches before, but none of them have been able to stick for very long. They've never been able to figure out Tempe and ASU. And I know they got some renovations going on at not Wells Fargo, Desert Mountain Arena or whatever it is now.
Desert Financial.
My bad. Desert Financial. But I don't know how far it's going to go. Randy Bennett's a good coach. I'm not saying Randy Bennett's not a good coach, but I don't know if he can recruit the type of dudes that you need to play every day in the Big 12 at the caliber that ASU hopes that he will be able to recruit and dominate, if that makes sense.
Yeah, Randy Bennett is an institution. He built that program up countless winning seasons, 25 years in one location. He had it rocking. They were at the top of the league. A lot of people felt like they were little brother to Gonzaga, but not really. St. Mary's tournament appearances, WCC championships, not really a mid-major. They were a power team right on the heels of the Zags every year. And in a few years, they were superior. He sent a ton of guys to the NBA. He knows what it takes to win basketball games. He's got a big, tall order in front of him. You're talking about a 63-year-old coach moving back to where he's from, eyeing retirement. Let's make no mistake about it. I believe this will be the last job that Randy Bennett has before he hangs it up. He's coming into a team that is woeful in the Big 12. He's coming into the most competitive conference in the country, and he's coming in at the bottom. And he's coming in and have to compete at a level much higher than the WCC. Now, he's the guy for the job. I'm not questioning his basketball acumen. I'm just pointing out how much is on his plate. You've got to retool that entire roster. You've got to create a new culture, and no one in the Big 12 is going to give a damn or give you any type of mercy. So it's not like guys are going to take it, you're rebuilding, it's your first. No, wins are hard to come by in the Big 12. So I think he's got his work cut out for him. He seems to have all the energy. This is a job for a 30-something-year-old coach, to be honest with you. Come in, rip everything up by the roots and start over. He seems to have the energy to do it. I know he knows what he's doing on the court. If he can recruit and get good players and play the way he plays, now you're talking about something serious, because I love doing St. Mary's basketball games because I only had to learn the names. I already knew the style, international style, let the ball do the work, assist, drop-offs, threes, dunks. I mean, beautiful basketball is what he draws up. If he can draw that up with top-tier talent in the Big 12, all these teams getting by playing AAU defense, they're going to be in trouble. If Randy Bennett gets some players that do what he says, you're going to find out if your team can defend, because he will put your guys in bad situations all night long. I don't think he's going to be pulling the same kids that he was getting at St. Mary's and bringing them to Arizona State. The question is, can he go get the guys that fit and make a run? Because you just saw in the tournament, teams that play together and move the ball have had a lot of success.
True, but that's a big question because he's never really done that. He's never really gotten out of his comfort zone in terms of recruiting. He basically has the same pool of players that he pulls from.
That Australian pipeline, right?
Yeah,
right.
Australian pipeline, and listen, if you think Purdue is the suburbs, St. Mary's, hey,
you got a laundry list of NBA guys that played at St. Mary's. Jock Londale's in the league now getting a check. Like, he coached some studs, and the scouts, see, that's the thing. The scouts know on draft day, them St. Mary's kids know how to play. They know how to play ball. So,
I know.
So I just want to see him do it at the level of the Big 12, because the Big 12 is just fierce, man. I mean, coaches lose their head. You got guys talking about retiring this year. I mean, the Big 12 is stressful, man.
Let's talk about that for a second. All right. This is a perfect segue. We have a super chat by Kevin Kretzmer. Says, my bad if you guys have already talked about this, but how nervous from 1 to 10 are you about Tommy leaving for North Carolina or Kansas job if they become available? And Hubert Davis was fired today. So, and Bill Self was talking about leaving Kansas. Now, here's the thing. Tommy was at Gonzaga as an assistant forever. All right. There's something about loyalty in where he's at. Tommy has built Arizona, or Tommy has picked up where Sean Miller left off and made Arizona a prominent power in college basketball. I find it very hard to believe that he would up and leave and go to Kansas or North Carolina. For what exactly are you doing? I guess would be my question. because he has everything he needs here at Arizona. He has the money, he has the support, he has the resources. Outside of the allure of the tradition of the past, which is a big allure, I think, to Tommy Lloyd to a certain degree, especially when you're talking about Kansas and the environment Kansas has, I'm not quite sure why Tommy would leave for one of those jobs. I just don't. Maybe I'm being foolish, but Corey,
No.
you tell me. Am I
So-
being? I mean, he's
Let me-
he's one of the highest paid coaches in the country too. So it's not necessarily about the money.
I had an agent in Belgium. His name was Ivic, and this dude was Yugoslavian dude. He was crazy, man. He's crazy. So after one game, I come out and he says, "Corey, come here." And he walks me up to the bar. We're on the road. He walks me up to the bar and he has me standing next to this guy. He's like, "This is Corey Williams. He's from the States, yada, yada, yada." It dawned on me about a week later that he introduced me to the president of the team that I just played, because he wanted my coach and my GM to see him and me talking to the other president. That's what he wanted. And people have to understand in coaching, all these names being thrown into the ring, these are agents trying to gain leverage for their clients. If I can get your name circled around the job, then guess who's calling me? Your current AD to up them dollars and get me an extension. It's a game. And you're 1,000% right. There is no higher job than the Arizona job. Is it the best coaching environment in the country? People could argue back and forth, but anything from Arizona is a lateral move. Arizona, Kansas, North Carolina, Duke, it's a lateral move. You're not gaining anything except money. So unless they back the Brinks truck up to his house, I don't see Tommy Lloyd. Look what you just built in the short amount of time. Look at the success you've had. If it's about money, then fine, get on the phone and rework the money. But changing brands just to make a lateral move, I don't think any coach wants that. Tommy Lloyd has put his stamp on this Arizona program. He's received tons of credit. You were just Big 12 Coach of the Year, and you're going to go to a fixer-upper? Because that's what North Carolina is. It's a fixer-upper, bro. They may have money, but they don't have the culture right now. And so you're also not one of them. North Carolina usually hires from within. They never really go outside the brotherhood to get a coach. Duke, the same way. So you're going to give up the program that you built to go be an outsider in North Carolina? Nah. And even if the money's more, you got to think long term. You're last hired, first fired. These programs have the money to buy you out and send you packing. Now you're a failure looking to come back and find another job like the Arizona job you just left. Things are too good. Life is about timing. I wouldn't really worry about Tommy Lloyd moving anywhere unless the money was just stupid. I mean, like when the Lakers tried to get Hurley. I mean, if it's stupid money, then yeah, he's going to do what's best for his family. But right now, what were they, 17 weeks at number one or something like that this year? Arizona's been the talk of the town. You are getting all the accolades, all the credit, all the respect. And I know he just got an extension, but he's probably he's getting all the money. I just don't see a why. Unless there's some toxic relationship between him and the administration, which I don't believe there is, unless there's some unforeseen thing that most people don't know about, I just don't see Tommy packing up and ripping his family up from Tucson and going somewhere for a lateral move. It just doesn't make sense to me. So for Arizona fans, relax. Everybody loves the rumor mill. It's just agents trying to work up leverage for their clients. A lot of these coaches have the same agent anyway. So I feel sorry for the ADs and the presidents because they have zero leverage because your coach can make or break you. The coach that you sign and the agent that he's with determines the kids you get. Now the kids can have agents. So if you're not in the right family of coaches and agents, your program is going to suffer. And Tommy Lloyd has proven he can put together a team. And we've got the Clutch Sports connection with Bryce and Koa. I don't see the why. I mean, we could talk about it forever, but I'm like you. I don't see it.
I don't see the why either. I know North Carolina and Kansas, traditionally speaking, have far greater resumes from a championships and Final Four perspective than Arizona does. But that we're not talking about the past. And if you've ever listened to Tommy Lloyd talk, he's not one to live in the past. He always talks about what's next, what the next step, the next game, the next, whatever. It's not about like, because what you've done in the past has zero to do with you in the future. And if Tommy goes to Kansas or goes to North Carolina, it's with a blank slate. He's starting all over from the bottom line, and he's going to try and build it up the way he did Arizona. And they have resources. Arizona has resources too, and that's the thing that I don't like. You can only have so much, and I don't necessarily think that it's such a game changer to go from Arizona to Kansas to North Carolina. Maybe the things off the court, outside of the NLL space, sure. Like the Jordan brand and all this other stuff in North Carolina, for sure. Kansas, I don't know. They somehow always find a way. But I agree with you, Corey, to a certain degree in terms of like what the team represents and what the program represents. It's basically a lateral move.
They've had Tommy Lloyd, and I say this with all the respect in the world, is one of the most important people in my life ever, and I mean that sincerely. Tommy Lloyd came into a situation much like Sean Miller, behind one of the greatest basketball coaches ever in Lute Olson. Tommy Lloyd hasn't made people in Tucson forget about Lute Olson. No one will ever forget about Lute Olson. But Tommy Lloyd is making fans feel like he's carrying on the Lute legacy. He's filling the shoes. Why would you go to North Carolina and try to fight the ghost of Dean Smith and start all over again? Like, they haven't been able to crack that code since Dean hung it up. So what are we doing? As a coach, as a career move, it's like, yo, you have already ingratiated yourself behind one of the greatest coaches of all time. You are currently doing things Lute didn't really do. We were number one here or there for a while with Arizona, but Tommy and the electricity in a totally different element, a totally different time. He wasn't an Arizona guy, but he is now. You'll never be a North Carolina guy. You'll never be a Kansas guy. That's a totally different coaching tree. So why would you go there and be an outsider for the same money? It doesn't make any sense. North Carolina, and then the other thing is this, when you're king of the hill, I mean, I just don't see why you would, and I don't want people thinking I'm trying to slander these programs saying it's a backward step, but as a career move, it seems on its face to be a backward step. Yes, they're vulnerable. Yes, their fan base and their donors are putting pressure on them to go get a big name. But these are the same people that'll turn on you if you start 4-5. Arizona was 4-5 at a point last year. Our fans didn't turn on Tommy. You go to North Carolina and you're 4-5.
Some of them did. The toxic ones did.
Someone, but I didn't pay. That's serious ones. But my point is, it's just, you're looking for stability. You're looking for competition. You build something. You're on the phone right now with kids who want to be here because of what they see you doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you cash that in and go change places? I don't get it. But I don't think it's anything real. I think it makes for great. Content creators are going to have a field day with the coaching carousel, as they always do. And I would tell our fans to just, not pay too much attention to that.
I concur. Folks, that does it for another episode of Mikhail Madness. We do appreciate, a large crowd today, watching the show. We do appreciate that. Kev, you got something?
Yeah, don't we have some upsets to talk about, friends?
Oh, you want to go back to those, huh?
Yeah,
all right.
We got to address
those. Let's see them.
We got to address. There was
So I had Akron upsetting Texas Tech, and that was so far off it wasn't even funny. Same thing with Alabama and Hofstra. That wasn't even close. But man,
you had it called.
Man, how did that even happen? That was crazy. That was crazy.
The ref had his back to Herb. Herb tried to call a timeout, and Kentucky advanced. I had Kentucky beating them anyway, but yeah, that was definitely a good call. I didn't see that coming. I didn't see Santa Clara being that competitive. And then
I had Iowa State beating the brakes off of Santa Clara anyway, and they would have done the same thing. And they did do the same thing with Kentucky. I told you Kentucky was a fraud. I knew they were fraudulent.
I just thought they were going to buckle up, but they just played scatterbrain basketball. Now, I knew Sean Miller was going to beat BYU because the Bands had one foot out the door. Miami. Oh my gosh, they just play so weird. They didn't even.
Yeah.
And then Kansas. Oh my, Kentucky just.
Yeah.
I mean, they.
I would say without Joshua Jefferson.
Yeah,
how
they put hands on them fools. Like, and see, that's the other thing. Mark Pope is a Kentucky guy, and they got him on the hot seat. They constantly talking about getting rid of him. So it's like you got these blue bloods on the East Coast where these fan bases are rabid and illogical. I would never want to take one of those jobs, especially this day and age where rumors aren't just murmurs in public. They're on message boards and on social media and all over the place. Your wife and your kids constantly got to hear about daddy might get fired. Like, nobody needs that in their life from a bunch of lunatics and keyboard gangsters on the internet. I'm not trying to do that. I'm going to stay over here in Tucson where it's 70 degrees in the winter. You know what I'm saying? Everything's lovely. I'm in the foothills, low, slow pace. You know what I'm saying? Good food. I'm chilling. I got the #1 team in the country. I got the recruits. I got LeBron's son on the team. Life is good. What are we talking about? Why are we leaving?
Yeah.
Especially if they cut down the nets, we're not leaving. If they win 2 games this weekend and go to the Final Four, you don't bounce. Like you try to win it again. Like, I mean, come on.
Going back to your point about Tommy. I'm not going to say that, usually the phrase is you don't want to be the guy that replaces the guy. You want to be the guy that replaces the guy that replaces the guy. Right. And so Sean Miller replacing, Lute Olson. I don't see it quite to that level where like Sean Miller definitely didn't do a bad job. Got to 3 Elite Eights, should have gotten to a Final Four for sure, but it just didn't happen. But I will say this: Tommy wins 2 games this week. He immediately vaults past Sean Miller into the second greatest coach in U of A history.
Yeah,
because he's at a Final Four, and that's something Sean Miller couldn't do. And then
I think people have already
championship. Ooh, oh boy. Yeah. Do we want to address the possible elephant in the room? I feel like we need to.
We need to. We may have time.
Let's just say, I know nobody wants to talk about this because they're like, well, we just focused on Arkansas, which I appreciate that the fan base is focused on the next task at hand. But none of us are playing in the games, and damn it, we could talk about the possibilities. And the possibility of Arizona facing Texas to get to the Final Four. I don't know if anybody's ready for this. I already see the discourse without this every time Tommy loses in the Sweet 16, and half the fan base is like, we should have never fired Miller, and half the fan base is like, give him some time, and then we have a year like we do this year, and for us to face Sean Miller, one of us is finally going to get ours. And, oh boy,
that
I
game
don't know if I can handle it.
That game is strictly for the fan bases. It's a content creator's dream. People are going to run with that. Headlines, interviews. Both coaches are going to go out of their way to say the right thing because the game, Tommy doesn't play, and neither does Sean. They stand there with their gym shoes and pants on, and they talk. That's all they do. They're coaches. They have an effect on the game, but they know it's not about us. It's about, can our kids execute the game plans? I think both coaches will be going the opposite ways from that storyline, but it'll be there for the fans. And for me, I would hate to see Sean Miller end this team's run because of the inane amount of nonsense I'm going to have to hear for the entire offseason.
Yeah.
People who don't know anything. Oh, we should have kept Sean. The tournament is Kansas, Florida, North Carolina, Kentucky, Gonzaga, and BYU are all at home right now. So if Arizona doesn't win the national championship, it's not like the whole season was a waste. And if it ends in the manner that it could possibly, who the hell knows? If it is Texas, which I doubt, I really think we beat Texas easily. But if some kind of weird way, that's the way it ends, people got to replace blame. People are going to have hurt feelings. People are going to be disappointed. People are going to be upset. And they're going to lay it all on the whole Sean Miller, Tommy Lloyd thing. And I think it's ludicrous. I think there's 2 different coaches, 2 different teams, 2 guys that may happen to cross paths. If it would have been Tommy playing against Mark Few, that would have been a media bonanza, So it is what it is. It could be crazy. Just it'll be good for the fans. It'll give more. It'll definitely be a draw in terms of ratings. The whole country will tune in to watch that game. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. Hey, I felt like we should at least address the elephant in the room, and we have done so. So there you go. Now with that officially being done, that is it for this show. We do appreciate you all. Make sure you drop a like, give us a review on your favorite podcast platform. We surely would appreciate it. For Corey, you can follow him at College Corey on Twitter, on Instagram. You can follow me at Saul_Bookman. I will be in San Jose beginning tomorrow. You can follow Kevin and Damon on PHNX Wildcats for all the latest in terms of the post-game shows and what to look out for with Arkansas. Hey, as always, we love you. Peace. Bear down.
We all silly like the mayor.